Welcome to Dirty Little Shifts, where I break down full games from the NHL's top defensemen and pass on what I have learned so you can hopefully see the game a little bit deeper. So today we're looking at Quinn Hughes, the captain for Vancouver Canucks. Quinn Hughes is from Orlando, Florida. I love to see that hockey is growing down there and that they're producing players of this caliber. He's 5'10", 180 pounds, so he's on the smaller end for defensemen. And usually when a defenseman's smaller, they're usually a little more offensive, which Quinn Hughes is. He has 22 points in 23 games, which if you're not sure what that means for a defenseman, that's quite a bit of points. He has almost a point a game, 2 goals, 20 assists. So looks like he's generating a lot of scoring opportunities for his teammates. And he's -8. So he's been on for 8 more goals against than goals for. And considering Vancouver's in last place, that's pretty good. And with how many minutes Hughes plays per night, only being -8 on a last place team is pretty impressive, to be honest. Hughes has won the Norris Trophy a couple seasons ago, which is the top defenseman in the league. So yeah, I'm excited to check him out. A couple of my good friends are big Canucks fans, so I hope this doesn't go poorly and ruffle any feathers. So with that being said, let's hop right into it. But first, don't forget to stick around to the end and I'll give you my summary of what I think of Hughes. Let's do it. So Hughes' first shift of the game here in the offensive zone. This one here, from what I've seen so far and just clipping this video, I'm going to run through it and assess more. But he is unbelievable on the offensive blue line. He's really good at it. This first play, though, I think you see here, his D partner, Roenick, has the puck. I really don't understand why Hughes is moving towards him. You really want to spread it out. There's all this space here, which will make this guy spread out, and it actually might allow Roenick to pull it to the middle and have a better shot angle. Hughes goes towards him, which kind of is a weird little play considering how good he is on the blue line. And then, yeah, now this one forward here is basically covering 2 guys. So that is a little weird play, but Hughes' footwork is so good that he's able to generate space still. Yeah, makes the pass, which is good. So now these guys are drawn up and this guy has a lot of space here. So worked out, but I'd like to see the defenseman spread out a little more. With this shift here, Hughes, there's a pass that comes up to this guy here. And Hughes, his gap here is a little big. I really don't like giving up the blue line like he is here. Obviously, like he was hinging for his D partner. Hinge is like he's hanging back because the puck came from over here and crossed the ice. So I understand a bit why the gap's off, but I still, with how good his skating is, I would have liked to see him kind of be up around here, cutting off the blue line, making this guy dump the puck in. He doesn't do that. And again, maybe he just got on the ice. It's tough to tell. So let's let it run and see how this gap plays out. So now he's tightened it up. And when he tightens it up, you see what this forward has to do? He has to stop. And here he backs off. I don't really like this. This is a one-on-one. This is a one-on-one. He's got his forward and him here. Like he should be hopping on this guy, pressuring him. This guy would probably do a light chip and possibly the forward retrieves the chip or a switch off with his defenseman. But instead he hangs back and lets Utah establish themselves. And it doesn't go too bad, but I do like that he gets back to the net front here. His head is on a swivel. He's looking around. Yeah, keeps looking around. And this is a nice little down low battle. This guy's got this guy. This guy's got this guy. It's a good battle. This guy here is Hughes' guy. He should be kind of on him here. And he's kind of creeping in a little bit. He's getting outside of this defensive area, which I really like to see. If you kind of don't have a guy, if your guy's too far out of the zone, just hang out in here in this empty space. That is where the threats are really generated. And he's starting to creep in here a bit. And now we have 1, 2, 3 guys all in this little area. And this guy, realistically, this is not this forward's guy. The forward's covering this defenseman at the point. So if there's a break in the puck shoots out here, all this space is open for this guy. So it's a little bit of a risky play. It works out. and Hughes joins the rush as he likes to do. So it works out, but just got to be careful of that. In this shift here, Hughes really shows how dirty he is at the blue line. Like, he really puts on a clinic in terms of just controlling the puck. But I do find it a little strange that he seems really reluctant to pass it to his D partner Roenick. I don't know if he doesn't have the confidence in him or he doesn't see it, but I think he does. I have a feeling he would rather keep the puck than give it to Roenick. He kind of seems like he only gives it to Roenick when he needs to. So here he's got Roenick wide open. He's got the puck now, comes up the boards to him. And again, this guy's coming at him. There isn't really any options over here. Realistically, his options are to pull it to the middle and maybe look for a shot or look if the pass opens up here, or to pass it to his D partner. Instead, he lets this guy come to him, which I don't understand why. He has the skill to get out of this scenario, but he's kind of putting himself in a bad situation unnecessarily. Beats him, which not a lot of defensemen can do that, and he has the skill to do it, so maybe that's why. He won the Norris for a reason. So yeah, that's one play, and now we got Hughes. He's still over here, or he's over there now. And again, this area here, you're kind of screwed in terms of your options. A shot from here, if you miss far side, that's a wrap up the boards and a breakout for the other team. So a shot from this area is not necessarily the best option. A light chip doesn't hurt, but it's not ideal when you have possession in the offensive zone. Realistically, to me, the best option is this pass. And again, he doesn't take it. Beats the guy as he's able to do, so I can't really give him too much shit, but it's, for most defensemen, this is not the best play because it's tough to beat those forwards, especially if you have a really gifted defensive forward. It works out for him, and I'd like to see him hustle back a bit more. He's not really going back. The impression I'm getting is he seems very frustrated in general. Fair enough, you're on a last place team. In this play here, Hughes does a perfect example of how to play a 3-on-2. I think 3-on-2s are a very misunderstood odd man rush. A lot of defensemen don't get taught this. I didn't get taught this till I was like 18 in the OHL. So it's a skill that I think a lot of people don't understand. So we'll watch what Hughes does here and I'll break it down for you. So right now, Hughes got this guy, Hughes got this guy, and you would think it's a 3-on-3, but Stanlin here is about to beat Ratty, and it's about to become a 3-on-2. It's very subtle, but yeah, see Stanlin, he has the step here. So now it is 1, 2, 3. And Roenick here, he's doing a great job. He's forcing this pass, which then turns a 3-on-2 into a 2-on-1. That's essentially what 3-on-2s are. It's a 2-on-1 and a 1-on-1. And it's always rotating. And here, this turns into Hughes versus Stanlin. And I can't see who this guy is, and Hughes does the perfect job. See, now he's taking away this pass to O'Brien from Stanlin, and it works out perfectly. So that is how you play a 3-on-2. Essentially 1-on-1 and a 2-on-1. And it might rotate depending on the passes. I'll show more examples in further games, but this is just one I wanted to show you guys. With this shift, Hughes kind of is reinforcing to me that he doesn't have very much faith in his D partner Roenick. There's a little dump in. Roenick's obviously the first guy there. Fair enough. Hughes is looking, head on a swivel. I think he's thinking to cut to the corner and call for a reverse. I'm not sure if his wires get crossed. I would kind of like to see him peel to the corner or do that reverse option where Roenick kind of chips it back behind him. But instead, he just stands right beside him. And again, like the previous shift, one forward can defend both of these guys. And to me, that's making your team shorthanded. It's a turnover where I realistically think Hughes should have been hanging out here or, like I said, in the corner. And now Utah has possession. And this play here, with how fast and good of a skater Hughes is, he should be beating the player to the puck here. And as I always preach on this channel, if you don't have the puck, you want to be between the offensive guy and the net. And right now, Hughes is on the opposite of that. And that's bad positioning, especially behind the goal line. This is like defense 101. You can't get caught in that position. So he either needs to for sure win the puck here, or he needs to kind of get on this side of the guy. And he doesn't win the puck. Puck's here. And now look, like that is a bad defensive play. He should be winning that battle. Thankfully, that guy didn't get the pass off quicker, or else that probably would have been a goal. But that is just a result of not being between the forward and the net. And I don't know why he did that. He kind of seems tired. Like he seems tired defensively, or he only has jump for offense. It seems like a lot of the time in the defensive corners, he's scared to go into it. And fair enough, you're 5'10", playing against some big boys in the NHL, so I can understand. So this is a quick little clip of something to keep in mind when you're a defenseman breaking out on the power play, or just on the power play in general. Hughes here, or on the power play, he's carrying the puck up. He's got one guy on him, and then he has two guys on him. In this instance, if it's 5-on-4 for your team, it's essentially 4-on-2 somewhere on the ice, because two of their guys are on one of your guys, you. So you should be beating these two guys with a pass, not your stick handling. Hughes tries to, kind of gets caught up and he recovers. But when you're on the power play, you should be beating people with the pass. So what I mean by that is draw a guy to you, one pass, another pass, super quick. You can have odd man rushes. And the whole point of the power play is to create those odd man rushes and take advantage of that. So just a quick little lesson. You don't want to be trying to be two guys last man back on the power play. With this shift here, we're going to see another example of Hughes being a little bit timid in the corner. And again, fair enough. You're 5'10". There's some big guys in the NHL. I don't blame him, but it does lead to issues. So we'll let it run here a bit. He's doing a good job. See how he identifies. He's got a guy here, here, here. And basically Schmaltz here, his only option is a dump, or possibly a chip in there. So Hughes is prepared for that. He's hinging back, anticipating that, which is a really nice play. The dump in here. And here Hughes kind of hesitates. In my opinion, he should be really ripping into this, but he doesn't. So I'm not really sure why. He could cut up here quick, use what I call the seventh man, the net, as a pick, but he doesn't, and turns into a lost possession for him and the Canucks. And just from this play here, something bad is about to happen. And here, the net front's tough. The net front is very tough, especially when you're 5'10". I like to see at least get this guy's stick. And he's kind of in a weird position here. So shot comes through. This guy tips it. It's a goal. So in my opinion, that kind of originated from not being quicker on receiving that dump and then not taking a stick out front. The stick out front part, that's tricky. That is a very tricky play as a defenseman. So I can't really give him much shit for that, but getting on that dump quicker, I think he has some timidness in the corner, which, like I said, fair enough. So this shift is a power play for the Canucks, and I think it's a good example of what I like to see a defenseman do when he's the top of the umbrella on the power play. And the umbrella, what I mean by that is, they call this the umbrella. See how that kind of looks like can look like other things too, but don't let your mind go there. It's an umbrella. And Hughes is at the top here. So the number one thing I like to see is using the whole zone. See how his feet are on the blue line? And this either makes this guy go up here, which opens up a lot of space there in the umbrella, or he gets all this space because this guy doesn't want to go up because he wants to take away this pass. Either way, it's utilizing the space, and I really like to see that. And see how he's moving. He's not just staying still. And he also is kind of like, he's constantly like curling in. He's constantly creating momentum for himself. Yeah, see now, because if you're kind of flat-footed here and not doing that kind of that curl in thing he did there, it's hard to get a shot. It's hard to use your passing angles better. So he does that, and he's looking here. He's drawing this guy up. This is when you draw this guy up, and then you can move it to here, move it to here. This guy can pop up. That's where you get those plays. And again, it's from holding this area and working your feet. So a common issue I see with younger defensemen is when they lose sight of the puck, but you know the play is coming at you. So Hughes does a great job of what to do. So he's here. There's a high flip. See the puck here? High flip. And it's about to go right off his head. Even up until that point, he's not fully sure where the puck is. So what you do is you do exactly this. You keep an eye on this guy, and you keep skating backwards towards your net. And you kind of want to like use these dots as a guideline. You don't want to get too far outside of them. So basically, to sum it up, keep an eye on your guy, keep skating backwards towards your net, and stay close as you can to inside those dots. And then once you see the puck, you're able to go back to playing defense. But a lot of people, when this happens, they get really out of position, they lose sight of their guy, and all of a sudden you're just useless. So let's let it run and see how it pans out. Off his head. And there you go. Be careful not to run interference, obviously, but yeah, this is all you can ask for. If anyone watched the game last night, they might question the Quinn Hughes penalty at the end of the game, if it was good or bad. In my opinion, it was a good penalty, and I will show you why. So we have less than 5 minutes left. They're down by a goal, and Hughes sees these guys low, and he only has 1-2 forwards down. So when you see that as a defenseman, especially when you're down by a goal with such little time left, you are looking for this. You're looking for this attack, this holding zone pinch. Hughes does a good job, and I love it. He's getting possession. This play, maybe not the best. I don't know if he's going for like kind of a pass here, but you got to be careful when you're in this part of the ice as a defenseman about missing the net on the far side. You don't want to miss the net on the far side because it's essentially a breakout for the other team. I like to kind of take these type of shots, or even you can use the bank, but missing far side wide is a risky play when you're on this part of the ice. So this is the only part that kind of I don't like about this whole sequence, but he misses wide, and you really gotta make sure you get back here to the middle of the ice like he is. And Stenlin here, he's a pretty solid guy, so he's just using his body to get in onside on Hughes. So in my opinion, you kind of got to take this penalty, and he does. So I think it was the right play. It did kind of stem from him missing the net on the wrong side from the wrong part of the ice, but everything else about this shift I liked. So you guys know on this channel, I'm a big advocate of gap control. It's very crucial as a defenseman, and it stops a lot of opportunities for the offensive team. If you guys watch my video on Anderson, he does a great job of holding gaps, which led to Minnesota barely getting any cycle opportunities. So when you have good gap control, it stops a lot of other issues down the line. Hughes here, this guy here, his back's to the play, the puck's in his feet, this guy's low, this guy's low. I would love to see Hughes kind of getting his speed here, transitioning there. Instead, he's kind of flat-footed at the blue line, and this is going to get him in hot water. So at this point, these guys aren't even close to the blue line. And Hughes is already he's transitioning almost at the red line. So he's giving them a lot of space. And when you do that, you can't have speed. You need to match their speed to be able to defend properly. So this is getting him in trouble right away. I love that he's pointing and talking to his forward. Always do that. Defenseman, especially on odd man rush. So now this is turning into a 3-on-2. And if you remember what I told you guys earlier about how to play a 3-on-2, it's essentially 2-on-1s and 1-on-1s rotating. So this 1-on-1 is here. And then we got the 2-on-1 here. And essentially, because of the gap from earlier, Hughes is in a tough spot because realistically, he kind of want to be up in this area and possibly take away this pass a little better, which would keep this guy up here a bit more. But because of the bad gap from earlier, it's giving this guy way more space than he kind of should. And I also think Hughes is relying on this back pressure to actually be effective, but he doesn't have it. As I said earlier, Stenlund here is the big guy, so he's got the body positioning on. I can't see who that is, but the forward for the Canucks. So Hughes should have been up here already. He should have been taking away this pass, and he's not. So it's kind of leading to this opportunity. And essentially, Hughes treated it like 1-on-1, 1-on-1, and basically 1-on-0. So that is kind of what led to this goal. And all of this, in my opinion, is from the bad gap at the start. Obviously, some other things broke down that led to the odd man rush in the first place. But from just this analysis, what Hughes could have done is had a better gap from the start. So that's it, guys. So overall, I don't know. He's very talented offensively. He really is. He's on the offensive blue line. He's possibly one of the best I've seen. He takes a lot of risks though, which you're on a last place team. I get it. And I do think there's a lot of pressure on him to produce, which I think is making him a little more offensive minded than he should be. I don't think you should have this much offensive pressure on your defenseman. Realistically, I think the lack of offensive generation from the forwards, at least in this game, it puts a lot of pressure on Hughes. And I think that's taking away from his overall game. I would love to see him on a team where there's less offensive pressure on him. And I think he could put a little more attention defensively. With that being said, I think he's a little timid in the corners and he's losing puck battles in his defensive zone that I don't think a defenseman should lose. They're really crucial to win those battles. He has good skating, which can help with that, but even there's certain plays where I think the pressure he puts on himself to generate offense gets in his own way and he tries to make fancier play than the situation calls for. But I'm excited to see more of his games because he obviously is a great skater. He's great at moving the puck and he has good vision of the ice. So overall, solid, but I think there's some areas that he really needs to work on to become a good all-around defenseman. Let me know in the comments below who you guys want me to analyze next. I'm hoping to do these at least 5 times a week. I'm focusing on games from the night before, and I'm focusing on defensemen to try and pass on my knowledge of the game of defense and hopefully make you guys see the game a little deeper. Hope you enjoyed.